some ways, that is the sadness and the beauty of the climate movement too. We are actually in it together as a global community. So in some ways, maybe it's the how would I say, it's the everything comes together. And how do you call this when many things come together?
Converge.
It's like a convergence. It's like, on the background of a climate movement is a COVID, which also tells us, doesn't stop at borders. There's no American or Chinese or Irish COVID. It's just a COVID, and it actually doesn't. It's very in the Tibetan culture, equanimity is seen as not having a preference. It's quite interesting. So it's not being always completely even, it's more seen as not having a preference. So in a way, that virus doesn't have a preference. So in a way, it makes us knowing that in our response, we shouldn't have a preference. We should just help everybody. So we should respond with this kind of equanimity, which is just really including everyone and everything. And so, Michael, here's your brother. So, Richard, we just talked about interdependence and how knowing that everything is interdependent is part of our coming from Buddhist and probably Christian and whatever Hindu philosophy, but it's also political and social and economical and everything else, and the care that comes from this understanding of interconnectedness. And I thought I'll make the first meditation today around this. It's a meditation I put together a while ago, and I called it a meditation on dependent co-arising, which means in plain English, meditation on the awareness that everything is coming into being with everything else constantly, and that everything is connected within the web of life. So if you like to make yourself comfortable,
Recording.
let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Notice the touch between your body and the chair, the ground. And feel your body in relation to the space around you. And feel your body as a whole. The whole felt sense of your body. And feel the whole felt sense of your body. Your face, eyes and jaw. That brain that always thinks so much. Back of your skull and throat. Shoulders dropping with the exhale. Breath brushing through the area of your chest where your heart is. Feeling the sensation of breath brushing through your chest, your heart. Noticing the sensation in your belly. Seat holding up your torso. Feeling the felt sense of body as a whole. And feel breath brushing through, breath expanding with the in-breath, falling with the out-breath, back into the field of the body. For the next breath to brush in naturally. Feeling the whole felt sense of your body. Notice breath arising out of this field of body sensation. With the in-breath, falling with the out-breath, back into the field. Tending to the sensations and movements of your natural breath. And allow your body to be breathed. And feel your face, your arms, the outline of your body. The touch between body and earth or ground or chair, and earth and body. Feel breath brushing through. The contact between body and breath, breath and body. And be aware of the space in this room, the room you are in. Breath being breathed into the space and coming back in. Breathing in with the in-breath, breathing out with the out-breath. Surrendering to breath, breathing you. Now, for a moment, imagine the walls of the building you are in gone. Or you might be already outside. And sitting here in direct contact with earth, sky, and trees around. Imagine your breath, all our breath, touching the trees around wherever you are. Breathing in with the in-breath, breathing out with the out-breath. Breath breathing you. The trees are receiving carbon dioxide, and in exchange releasing oxygen. We are hungry for this oxygen, which we are breathing in with the inhale. Rest in this reciprocal exchange. You, the trees and you. As you're feeling your breath going in and out, be aware of the interdependence between body and breath, trees and land and trees, body and breath. Breathing in with the in-breath, breathing out with the out-breath, breath breathing you. You may yearn for a sense of belonging in life. There might be a yearning for home, for kinship, for meaningful relationship, for being part of a life in safety, feeling secure in life. Feel your own yearning for the sense of belonging. First, belonging to yourself. Extend a hand towards yourself and allow yourself to be held. As breath flows through, rest in the sense of security, of being carried by life. And allow yourself to surrender, to be part of this living earth. This earth who is so patient with us all. Earth, Gaia, the Bodhisattva, who carries us all. Breathing in with the in-breath, breathing out with the out-breath, breath breathing you. Let yourself experience what you receive from Earth. And you may recognize that you're longing to give back to it. Now notice what you feel and don't be surprised if you experience a sense of caring or even love. Breathing in with the in-breath, breathing out with the out-breath. Breath breathing you. And then imagine for one moment the possibility of being seamlessly connected to everyone and everything. Like being part of an immeasurable, huge, mysterious web. like being plankton in the sea of life. For a moment, be aware of the interconnectedness of all human life and beyond human life. How every piece in our house, in our life has been created by so many others. The bread we eat, the paper we write on, the fruit we put into our cereal, the car we drive. Innumerable others who made this possible. Within this experience of being held in this spacious field, being held by this much vaster field of energy and life, come back to pockets of separateness or of difficulties we and our earth are currently experiencing, because they too are part of the same tapestry of life. Part of the same tapestry of life. Send out feelings of compassion, caring, and let the waves of mutual belonging touch everything. Breathing in with the in-breath, breathing out with the out-breath. Breath breathing you. Allowing, surrendering to your body being breathed. Feel what it's like to allow this experience, to allow the sense of belonging. Gently breathing in, gently breathing out, us all being breathed in as part of this immeasurable web of life. May the benefits of this meditation go out into the world and beyond. We have a little creature at the door. She will come in. My little creature, Lucy, has been meditating already with me this morning in the garden for an hour. She is a very advanced meditator.
So thank you, Radhule. And that meditation was very, very relevant to what I want to talk with you about this morning. So, sorry, let me just see if I can get this. There we go. Seeing with new eyes is our theme for today. And you may remember that those of you that have been with us for the last couple of weeks, we've been going through the different steps in the spiral of the work that reconnects of Joanna Macy as a way of tapping into wellness and strengthening our resilience in these uncertain times. And we began with gratitude a couple of weeks ago. We talked about how that experience of gratitude, of paying attention to what we already feel grateful for, roots us in the heart. And that allows us to face our pain, to lean into our pain, and to honor our pain. And you may remember Joanna Macy's teaching that when we can be with our pain and keep breathing, it doesn't stay static, it changes. And it changes to reveal its other side. And the other side of our pain for the world is our love for the world. We feel the pain we feel for the world because of how deeply connected we are. And as we experience that deep connection, it alters our perception and we see with new eyes. And that's what today is about. And so I want to begin by telling you an old Irish story. Some of you know this one. And I first heard this story as told by John Moriarty, the Irish philosopher, poet, who passed away in 2007. And he talks about this story of Bran and the silver branch. So there was a famous warrior called Bran mac Fiall. And we hear how one evening when Bran was outside in the darkness, he had a vision. And the vision he had was he saw hanging before him in the air a silver branch that hovered there, shimmering in the dark. He felt deeply unsettled by this, and he returned to his room. When he got back to his room, he felt he wasn't alone, and he turned around, and there was a beautiful woman. And the beautiful woman said that she came from the other world, that she belonged to the other world. And in a song, she described this other world, and she invited Bran to come and visit her there. So the next day, Bran set out with 3 boats. And despite his coaxing, the crew made little progress against the furious headwinds. But then Bran saw something that caused him to fall silent. Coming towards him through the storm was Manannán, the god of the sea, in a chariot drawn by 4 great white horses. Manannán looked Bran straight in the eye. "What do you see when you look out there?" he asked. "I see grey waves," said Bran. "Here's what I see," Manannán said, and he began to sing. And his description of what he saw, a land of beautiful trees and flowering shrubs, flowing streams, and leaping salmon, was identical to what the beautiful woman had said of the other world. As Bran listened, understanding grew in him, and he broke his silence. He called to his captains to turn around the boats and head for home. As he watched the green mountains on the horizon grow larger, he realized that he had just been gifted with something priceless that he couldn't yet put into words. His thoughts were interrupted by the crunch of the boat's prow on the pebble beach. He looked up. Standing there in front of him on the shore of Ireland was the beautiful woman, and in the air beside her was the singing silver branch. It was only when Bran stepped off the boat onto the land and looked around that he understood where he was. He had arrived in the other world. And yet it was the same world he'd left early that same morning. On the outside, nothing was different, and yet nothing was the same. Something fundamental had changed. He realized then what had happened. What he'd been gifted with was another way of seeing. It was to another way of seeing their own world, not to an other world, that she had invited them. In the person of Bran, we come to know that the blessed other world is a way of perceiving this world. This is what John Moriarty calls silver branch perception, this other way of seeing. And so, as a way of understanding this other way of seeing, I want to think with you a little bit about synchronicities. What are synchronicities? Carl Jung, the great psychologist, calls them meaningful coincidences. Richard Tarnas, the historian and cosmologist and Jungian, writes, they are coincidences in which two or more independent events having no apparent causal connection nevertheless seem to form a meaningful pattern. So we all know this from our experience in life, but what's their significance? Well, before we look at that and think about that, I just wanted to share this with you. This is what Rick Tarnas talks about our relationship to synchronicities. And he says there are three different phases in our relationship to synchronicities. The first is where synchronicities happen. And they happen and they seem ambiguous, that kind of a bit like coincidences, kind of usually regarded as merely fortuitous or subjective, curious. But then the second phase is where one or more especially powerful synchronicity, unambiguous in its coincidental force and precision of patterning, has a revelatory effect on us and marks a decisive threshold, an initiation into another way of seeing. And then the third phase is really on the other side of that, where we have a new attitude, and synchronicities emerge in their frequencies and character and come to seem to be part of a bigger, deeper field of intelligence and artistry. Less paradigm shifting than revelatory of a new order of reality, more a continuing source of meaning and orientation. So sort of an example of the first phase is someone we haven't seen for a long time comes into our mind, and then the phone rings at the same moment, and it's that person, what a coincidence, that kind of synchronicity. The second story, just very briefly, a personal story, and part of a much longer story, but there was a time in my life about 20 years ago when I was going through huge changes. My marriage had come to an end. I was on the threshold of leaving my job and my life in Ireland to move to America. So I was just on this kind of threshold of enormous change. And I was sitting in my therapist's office, talking about this, talking about how it was as though a certain phase of my life was coming to an end and something new was beginning. It wasn't clear what it was. And at that precise moment, the wristwatch I was wearing on my wrist, on my hand, fell apart. It literally, the face fell off and it fell to the ground. And so, you know, one can read what one likes into that, but that felt like more than just a coincidence. So that for me was an example of a powerful synchronicity that sort of marked a decisive threshold. And then the third one, you know, where synchronicities become more of one's everyday life and sort of more a kind of an affirmation that one's on the right path in a way. And I looked up, so I thought about some examples of this. And here are a few that I'd made a note of. I'm posting a photo of a single star in a clear evening sky on Facebook, just as I'm writing the words "twinkle, twinkle," while listening to Guy Ross on the TED Radio Hour. He says, "When we look at a star, that's literally what we're made of." So that's an example. Or I'm driving to work and I'm thinking, today's Tuesday. The vitamins I ordered for Alex will be delivered today, because I got a notification from Amazon that they were going to be delivered that day. At that same moment, the woman announcer on the radio says Tuesday. And at that same moment, a golden oriole, this stunningly beautiful yellow bird, flies out of a bush in front of me. Then the third, I'm running through the little forest by the Natural History Museum, listening to a podcast about the San Bushmen of the Kalahari. At the exact moment the narrator is saying the words, "The elder was nestled into a tree," I'm turning a corner and seeing an old man right there in front of me, asleep on the ground, his head nestled into a tree. So those are examples. And my Native American friend and teacher, Wolf Wapipod, describes these kind of synchronicities as breadcrumbs from Creator to show us that we're on the path, perhaps the right path. So how can we better recognize synchronicities in our life? Again, Wolf Wapipod, when he describes prayer, he says, prayer isn't about something we say or do. Prayer is a state of being. And whatever we do when we're in that state of being is prayer. Or Suzuki Roshi says, for the miraculous to happen is an accident. Practice makes us accident prone. And you may remember that we talked a couple of weeks back about the story of the Rainmaker and how when he came into Tao, when he came into harmony with the deepest flow, then of course it rained. So how we can better recognize synchronicities by doing whatever we know will bring us into the state of being that is prayer. Because when we're in that state of being, synchronicities happen, breadcrumbs fall, we recognize them. We better recognize synchronicities when we do what we know makes us accident prone, as Suzuki says. Practice makes us accident prone. So accident prone in the sense of for the miraculous to happen. The miraculous will happen when we practice in a way that we know brings us into that place, that brings us into Tao, as the Rainmaker says. And by coming into alignment with the flow of what is, with the deepest flow of what is, with mindfulness and an attitude of openness and respect, and a willingness to be surprised. So, what is synchronicity? How life rises up to meet us when we're in deep connection and harmony with the rest of nature. These are descriptions that came from a group I was working with one weekend. We were just spending a weekend thinking about synchronicity together. And these were some of the individuals' kind of descriptions of what synchronicity meant to them. So one person how life rises up to meet us when we're in deep connection and harmony with the rest of nature. Another person said, they're a gentle invitation we can but don't have to accept. And the third person said, they're a beautiful medicine for our pain. And what do? They resituate us in a bigger, deeper, lighter field. When we stand in that field, we realize that all is connected, that all is interdependent, that all is flow. And this changes our perception. We see with new eyes. We realize, as Braun tells us, that this world and not some other world is paradise. So I want to kind of leave you with a couple of kind of things to think about. You know, what is your relationship to synchronicity? You know, if you think of it in terms of those three phases, can you relate to those three phases, and how do you relate to synchronicities? I think a kind of more important question is, you know, to ask yourself, what brings you into deep harmony and alignment with the flow of what is? Because that will bring you greater peace, that will bring you greater joy, that will bring you a lightness of being, and then the breadcrumbs will appear. And the third is, do I have a story of a synchronicity to share? And I'd love if we had another couple of hours to have story sharing, which we don't.
But maybe have a little time after the second meditation.
We could take a few minutes at the very end if anybody has a synchronicity they'd like to share, but you might like to think about that and share it with a friend or a loved one, because synchronicities, like dreams, are meant to be shared. They come into their full blossoming when they're shared. And so I want to lead you now in a short closing meditation.
Before we share,
We could have the bell. So I invite you to allow your awareness to drop down into your body, all the way down to the earth, all the way down to the ground. The sensations of firmness and solidity. For just a little while, allow your awareness to rest in those sensations of contact between your feet and the ground, your seat and the chair. When you're ready, allow your awareness to rise up and fill the whole space of your body with mindful awareness. And as you're mindfully aware within your body, notice where in your body you're most aware of the sensations of breath. The sensations of the rising breath, the sensations of the falling breath, the felt sense of the body. And allow your awareness to alight on the sensations of breath, like a feather on a wave. Sensations of the rising breath, sensations of the falling breath. And for just a little while, allow your awareness to be carried on the effortless flow of the body's breathing. And as your body continues to breathe, I invite you in your mind's eye to see before you a blade of grass, a single blade of grass with a long stem coming from the earth, maybe among many other blades of grass. But I invite you to pick one blade of grass and in your mind's eye to see it there before you in all its vividness, in all its greenness. And see it there in its particularity, if it's catching the light, if it's moving a little bit, if there are any insects crawling up. Just take in this blade of grass in all its detail. When you have a sense of this blade of grass, I invite you in your mind's eye to close your eyes. And once more, to bring your attention back to the sensations of the breath, wherever you most feel these in your body. The rise and fall of your belly, rise and fall of your chest, the subtle flow of air moving in and out of your nostrils. And I invite you to pay attention to the sensations of breath and to allow your awareness to alight on the sensations of breath. And I invite you to know that your breathing out is blade of grasses breathing in. The grass breathing out is your breathing in, each enlivening the other. And that as you bring your awareness to the sensations of the flow of the breath, the in-breath, the out-breath, you're bringing your awareness to this effortless exchange, this life-giving exchange between the leaf of your body and this blade of grass, each enlivening the other. And I invite you to open wide to this exchange, to this reciprocal exchange between your body and the grass, between the grass and your body. And to allow your awareness to dissolve into the sensations of the in-breath, sensations of the out-breath, knowing that you're becoming one with this deep reciprocal exchange. If your mind is carried away with thoughts, distractions, as soon as you notice this, let go of the thought. Relax and allow your awareness to drop back down into your body and into the effortless flow, the effortless exchange of your bodies and the blade of grasses, mutual, reciprocal interbreathing. You are alive because of blade of grass. Blade of grass is alive because of you. We fundamentally need each other. And may all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings everywhere be free. And may I become all that I need to become to best enable this to happen for all our relations. So yeah, let's just take a few minutes if anybody would like to share share something. Alejandro, thank you. Let's. Alejandro, are you? Let's see. Sometimes it doesn't seem to work so easy.
Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I just did.
Good, thank you.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex. The strongest instance of synchronicity I had was my father died in my home, and I called a friend to get herbs to bathe the body, to bathe his body. And she said, hold on a second. And she said, right as she and her daughter, who had been working in Nepal, had just, her daughter had just flown in along with the spiritual doctor to the king of Mustang. And he asked if he could come to my home and do the ritual for releasing the spirit. And it's crazy because it, not planned, and it happened exactly within an hour of my father dying. And the man came over to the house. He couldn't speak English, but when he was talking and my friend's daughter was interpreting, there was something so universal about what he said. And it's one of the most powerful experiences I've had in my life. And there were many other instances of synchronicity, but that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he the way his body language worked. My children were very young at the time, but I asked them what they thought, and they said, he was showing us that Poppy's here still, and that we need to just tell him he can move on. And so that's my share.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Beautiful, beautiful. And just to kind of comment, I think sometimes very powerful kind of like big dream synchronicities seem to happen around those huge moments in life, like birth and death. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Alex knows how to raise this blue hand, but you can also just raise your hand.
Or just unmute yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other stories of synchronicity that anybody?
Oh yeah, there is Sarah.
Yeah.
Hi, Sarah. Let me see, how can we unmute Sarah? Sarah Lucas.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Good morning.
Morning.
I've had many incidences throughout the days of synchronicity. And one I remember was going up, I was driving down to Malibu to have a treatment on acupuncture. And it was raining. And I turned off Pacific Coast Highway to head towards his house. And I got this very, very strong voice or knowing that I had to stop right there and not to drive any further, because there was going to be a giant boulder that was going to fall down on the road. And that is exactly what happened.
Wow.
So that was just one little one.
Wow.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, sure.
There's Ellie Cooper. Oh, here.
Hi, Ellie. Thanks, Sarah. Sorry, one sec. Can you unmute? We don't. There you go.
Okay, there I
You're
go.
good.
Well, I had an incredible synchronistic experience of many in my life, but the most meaningful one was it was about a year after my first husband's death. I was very lost and unsure of direction in life. Friends took me to a music festival in Joshua Tree with a lot of people. It was almost overwhelming, and I was sitting back at the campsite thinking, I lived there, I need to go home. And a man walked up to me and started talking to me. And I kind of thought, oh boy. And sure enough, it was the man I eventually married.
Oh,
and he
wow.
got out from Santa Barbara with his friends. And he was a little tired of the music, and he was walking around in the campsite, and he saw me sitting there, and he walked up and he said, hi, my name's Mark. And I said, okay. And you just feel it when you know that there's something more than just a person coming up to say hello. And sure enough, the relationship developed, and that was 10 years ago. We're married today.
Thank you, Ellie. Beautiful.
Congratulations. And there's
Thank you.
Maya Kramer.
Okay, Maya, let me just.
Maya, are you unmuted?
Yes, now I am. Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you. So there are so many big ones I could go into, but one that just happened during the meditation, actually. I've been thinking about doing a writing piece and titling it Blades of Courage. And Michael, with your meditation with the blades of grass. And I was really sort of in the meditation and following your guidance with my breath and body. And then the mind wandered a bit and went to this title for me. And it was at the exact same time that you then, towards the end of the meditation, said blades of grass. And in my mind, I was thinking blades of courage. So it was that moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank
Maya.
you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hi, Misa. Let's. unmute you if you're able to do it at your end.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I had 2 this week. I had been really drawn. I'm taking a drawing on a Zoom class, and all of it, rather than do the drawings a teacher was showing, I felt drawn to draw images of a friend of mine who was really a lot in my awareness. And so much so, I called to leave her a really loving message. And the next morning, she called to thank me for the message, and said that her grandmother had died that morning, who she was very close with. And my body yesterday was drawn to go to this place that I call my secret creek, because usually you can scramble up there and there's some water and there's no people. And I went with the intention to work on my lines and the scenes that I'm in Shakespeare's A Midsummer's Night's Dream. And this place is very magical, and I go usually to sing to the ancestors. And on the way up, there was a butterfly that had died that was floating in the stream, the black ones with yellow. And I put it on the rock. And then when I went up to rehearse, I was reading the other lines, and there was a little a verse about and cause him to go to sleep by plucking the butterfly wings off. And so I had to pick up that little butterfly and bring it back home with me.
Well, there are some breadcrumbs.
Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Who else would like to share? You could just put up your hand or... And I was just wondering if there were more thoughts about this feeling of interdependence, that if that's something that was understandable to you, or how, if there were questions about that.
I think in some ways we didn't really coordinate too much our planning for this morning, but
no, we didn't at all.
But the meditations actually really, I think, spoke to each other, and I think in a way synchronicities are our little breadcrumbs of interdependence that kind of illuminate this sort of bigger tapestry that we're all part of without realizing it. There's something in us that kind of creates this delusion of how separate our lives are and how small our lives are in a way. And kind of big synchronicities, little synchronicities, but also practices like meditation can bring us into the awareness of that bigger tapestry.
I actually was thinking this morning, I was sitting up in my garden and I was thinking, I wish Lucy, my little dog, would come up, and she makes herself a little rare at times because I think it's too steep up there to get there, or I don't know what it is. She hopes there's more food close to Michael or something. But this morning, it's my birthday, she came actually up and sat with me for over an hour. And in some ways, it's a little synchronicity because she sure doesn't know the dates of the year. So that was kind of sweet, no? It was like a nice surprise that she did that.
Somebody's asking if the talks are kind of available afterwards, and the answer is yes. They're being recorded and edited, and
no, they're not edited yet. So if there's a gifted editor, please come forward. So they're all there, but I feel they should be edited a little bit, and then I'm just getting a new person helping me with my websites. So they're all there. Also, our last Solidarity and Compassion was actually amazing. It really came together well. And we had an African-American minister, the head of the Chicano Studies Department, a Franciscan who works with Latin American youth or just Latin youth in Los Angeles, and we had a Chumash elder, and for some reason they just really were great. They just, the way they worked together was wonderful. So we are still, we have it all, but it's just the way from my computer to getting edited to the website is something that needs to be figured out.
So they will be available in time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for joining us. Lovely
Bye
to see you
bye.
all.
Have a great sunny. Oh, Kelly wants to say something.
Oh, sorry, Kelly. We didn't see your hand there. Let's unmute you. Oops.
This is, I know this isn't adding something to that doesn't need to be added, but the idea of a premonition versus synchronicity. I was wondering if you could tell, because I know a number of people kind of mentioned premonitions too. So I was going to share a premonition that I had. I had a premonition before the virus happened that something very catastrophic was going to happen in the community and in my life. And it did. And the premonition was not something negative. It was like, wow, this is going to stir things up and it's going to happen. It's going to be something very catastrophic, but it's needed. And so I thought that was interesting that I had that before it happened, but that was more of a premonition than a synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
Can you comment on that, the difference between a premonition and synchronicity, and
I
how
think
that?
premonition is a kind of synchronicity. And I remember having that actually, waking up for a few days every morning for quite a few days at 5 after the last election, and just having the sense, ooh, this isn't good. This is not good at all, but on a very deep
Last
sense.
presidential election.
Yeah. And so, and I remember people saying to me, come on, you're overreacting. And I was wondering if I had post-war German PTSD, kind of, really wondering, was I just, actually quite a few people told me I was a little, off the rocker maybe with my concerns. And in some ways, as not so good as it is right now, at least I feel I'm not crazy, So, so yeah, I think, would you say something about premonitions?
I would agree that I think I don't know, but my opinion would be that they're similar to synchronicities, that and in a way a lot of our dreams can be quite, can have that premonition quality to them sometimes, or a synchronistic kind of quality to them sometimes. And I think all of these phenomena are kind of related, and I think in terms of the kind of new physics, they're emergent phenomena. They're phenomena that emerge from the field, and sometimes in a very meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
So things, as Jung said, and at the very beginning, sort of a meaningful coincidence, or tarnas, two events that aren't causally related and yet seem to have a meaningful connection. So sure, I think I don't understand it. There's something kind of mysterious about it, but I would go along with the idea that they are all emergent phenomena, and kind of little glimmers of this bigger tapestry that we're all part of, this living bigger tapestry that we're interacting with and co-rising with.
Sarah wants to say something.
Yes, I just wanted to share how increasingly, because I'm out in nature all the time gardening, how magical it is for me. I've been working at a rose garden in Montecito, and I was experiencing, noticing the spider spinning its web in the sunlight, and then listening to the red-tailed hawks that were communicating back and forth with one another. Or the time when I was at the Unitarian Garden and I've planted butterfly weed, and the caterpillars are having a feast, by the way, and they're getting quite fat. And there I was weeding, and there attached to a daylily leaf was a caterpillar that was turning into a jay, and it was about to create a chrysalis. And that to me was very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you for that reminder. I think that's absolutely right. That's my experience also, that the other than human world, the rest of nature, the natural world is somehow closer to that that tapestry of of mystery and synchronicity. And we turn a corner and there's a little bird right there. Who knows? You start describing it, it sounds kind of twee and highly subjective, and yet when those moments happen, they carry such a sense of meaning and significance. So thank you, Sarah, and thanks again, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
I was wondering, Annette, could you stay on just for a moment after everybody leaves? Thank you.
Okay, take care, guys.
You. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Emma. Hi, Anne. Let's unmute. Hi. Are you unmuted? Look, here's Anne and Annette.
Hey.
Thank you. Annette, do you remember Anne?
In Ireland. I had black hair.
Yeah.
So anyway, it looks like they're not there anymore. So I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Anne.
So, okay, and thanks for everything. So,
have a good Sunday.
Same for you. Okay, bye.
Bye. Hi, Annette. Hi, Annette and George. Hi, George.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday and congratulations for the graduation of Ben.
Oh, yeah. But it's probably just dinner time for you, and you go to a restaurant or so, right?
Can you hear us?
Ja.
Okay. Herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Danke sehr. Schön, dich zu sehen.
Ja, wir haben alles gemacht, damit wir hier die Verbindung bekommen.
Oh, super.
War nicht so ganz einfach. Aber es hat geklappt. Ich bin richtig froh darüber.
Ja, und es sieht toll aus, wo du bist. Wunderschön.
Ja, es ist wunderbar. Es ist ein kleines Paradies.
Ja, ich wünschte, ich wäre da.
Das wünschte ich auch. Das würde dir sehr gut gefallen.
Mhm.
Zwei Fragen. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich das richtig verstanden habe. Ist das I speak in English that you can understand.
Yes.
Is your recording on your website?
Not yet. It is. It's recorded, but I need somebody who can edit it.
Okay.
And then help me put it on the website. It's just I have a little bit, I'm not the most technical person. And so, so I'm hoping I need somebody who knows how to edit those videos a little bit. Yeah.
I might know some.
Oh, yeah?
is it, but here in Portugal? Can it also be? Yes, yes, I could ask if he could record it. I don't know how. If it's possible that he can
I can
record.
send them over. They can be edited anywhere.
Okay,
I have
okay.
recorded them, and so they just need to be edited.
Okay, I will ask him if he could do it. I'm not sure, but he is an IT man,
You're
and
thinking in Michael?
yeah.
Yeah.
So he might be able to do it. I will ask him.
And maybe if it's not too
Okay.
expensive, we can even pay a little bit. I don't know, but it would be great because yeah, I think it would be great to have them edited just a little bit.
Okay, I'll ask him. He normally doesn't ask for being paid. You have to really insist. You have to
All
really
right.
insist, because he would say, "Oh no, it's not."
That would be wonderful.
But another question. Yes, another question. How technical will it be? Your birthday meeting. How will it be?
Oh yeah, we all just have our food, and then we'll kind of have our Zooms on the. Everybody has their Zoom, on the table. And let me see, what is this here? And then we just chat.
Intro time.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody will have some dinner at home, and then we are chatting.
But I think that would be hard for you because you are not at home. So you're going out to a restaurant probably. So that would be difficult for you.
We thought on going now to see that we get some takeaway.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I think that's what everybody's doing. Everybody's getting takeaway, and then we just kind of come back to the same. No, I think Bella sent a Zoom link. Did you see that?
Yes, I've got it. Yes, I have got it. I answered her already yesterday.
Yeah, because she wanted to set it up.
Yes, she did. Well, I will try to get it in. I don't know if it will be at promptly this time.
Oh, come anytime. It doesn't have to be prompt.
I know. Okay, but how long you think it will be?
I don't know. You can just stay for a little while. I think the kids want to play afterwards. They found a way to play games on the computer. Like you can play like board games, but you can play them. I think that's what they want to do afterwards.
What?
You can play like games, like card games, board games.
Okay.
They made it so you can play it on the computer. We did it once or twice before. It's very funny, it's like, but you don't have to, you're welcome for this, but you don't have to be there for that.
Okay.
So you don't have to feel obligated to stay longer than you want to stay.
Okay. I just wanted to know how it would work. At 8, no? You said at 8.
Mm-hmm.
At 8, you will.
Well,
is that right?
It's I don't know if 8 o'clock in London is the same as 8 o'clock for you. It's actually what is the time now? It's 11:30. Ooh, it's just in a half hour.
It's in a half hour. Yes, right.
So you can join at any time if you like. If you're late, it's okay. Just join us. You don't have to be punctual.
Okay. Yeah, it will be. Okay, thank you. Because actually, we really have to get some food. because otherwise it will be too late. So we are going to fetch some food, and then I tried that I can you hear? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
it's a little broken up, but I can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Okay, okay. We try our best, okay?
We see what happens. C'est la vie.
Okay. C'est la vie. Okay, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Big hug. Bye-bye.
Oh, Annette?
Yeah?
You know, I want to talk to you sometime because I had this idea of having a Klassentreffen on Zoom.
Ich hab das schon gelesen, das ist eine super.
But we talk another time. Tschüss.